Let me ask you something a little uncomfortable. What is actually in your pantry right now? Not what you think is there, not what you meant to buy last month. What is actually sitting on your shelves tonight if the grocery store was closed for 2 weeks? Most people go quiet when they hear that question, not because they are scared, but because they genuinely do not know. And the honest truth is that most of us are one bad week away from eating whatever is at the back of the cabinet. This video is not about fear. It is not about doomsday bunkers or conspiracy theories. It is about something way more practical. It is about the fact that grocery prices have risen significantly over the past 3 years. Supply chain disruptions are real and documented. And Costco, the warehouse giant that most of us already have memberships to, is quietly one of the best tools for building a smart, long-lasting food supply. Today, I am walking you through 10 specific Costco items that nutritionists, emergency preparedness experts, and smart home economists actually recommend. No hype, no fake urgency, just real food, real data, and real strategy. Stick around for number 6 because it is the one most people completely overlook, and it might be the most important one on the entire list. Before we get into the list, here is something worth understanding. Costco was not designed for preppers. It was designed for families, small businesses, and anyone who wanted to buy quality products in bulk at fair prices. But those same design principles make it extraordinary for building a real food stockpile. The Kirkland signature brand specifically is manufactured to the same or higher standards as name brands, often in the exact same facilities. And the price per calorie, per gram of protein, and per unit of nutritional value is almost unbeatable anywhere in retail. So with that context, let us get into it. Item 1, Kirkland Organic Coconut Oil, $25, $84 Oz tub. Walk past this in the cooking oil section, and you are walking past one of the most shelf-stable calories available to you in any retail store. Here is what most people do not know about fats. Not all of them age the same way. Vegetable and canola oils can begin to oxidize and go rancid within 6 to 12 months of opening. The smell changes, the taste changes, and rancid oils are genuinely bad for you. Coconut oil, because of its high saturated fat content, is dramatically more stable. Stored in a cool, dark place, an unopened container remains usable for 2 to 5 years. One 84 Oz tub contains roughly 12,000 calories of pure fat energy. Your body needs fat for brain function, hormone production, absorbing fat-soluble vitamins, and generating heat. Most long-term pantry staples, rice, beans, lentils, are nearly fat-free. Coconut oil fills that gap directly. My strategy, I keep 4 tubs in rotation, bought and used over time. That is roughly 48,000 calories of shelf-stable fat for about $100, and it makes bland pantry food, plain rice, oatmeal, lentils, genuinely taste good. Pro tip: the oil also earns its shelf space beyond cooking. It works as a skin moisturizer in dry weather, a base for DIY salves, and a wood and leather conditioner. Multi-purpose items are gold in any stockpile. Item 2, Kirkland canned chicken, 350 cans, sold in 6-packs. This is where Costco pulls ahead of every other option for shelf-stable protein. Each 12.5 Oz can contain roughly 60 grams of complete protein, real chicken breast, fully cooked, requiring 0 refrigeration. The official shelf life is 2 to 5 years, and food scientists note that properly stored canned goods often remain safe beyond printed dates because of the sterile canning process. Compare that to the alternatives. Freeze-dried chicken runs $30 to $50 per pound. Fresh chicken spoils within days without refrigeration. Protein powder is expensive and nutritionally incomplete. Canned chicken at $3.50 per can is genuinely hard to beat on any metric. When a multi-day power outage hits, and statistically most households will experience at least one per decade, frozen meat becomes a loss within 24 to 48 hours. Canned chicken does not. It sits in your pantry and waits for you. I keep 36 cans in rotation. That is 27 pounds of protein taking up about 2 square feet of shelf space. I use the oldest cans in regular cooking, chicken quesadillas, pasta bakes, soups, and replace them each Costco trip so nothing sits unused. Pro tip: the liquid in the can is essentially chicken broth. Cook your rice in it instead of plain water. You are adding flavor and sodium with zero extra cost. Item 3. Kirkland Organic Peanut Butter. That's $11, 228 Oz jars. Peanut butter is one of those foods that looks boring until you look at the numbers. 2 tablespoons deliver 190 calories, 16 grams of fat, and 7 grams of protein. The Kirkland Organic version contains exactly 2 ingredients: peanuts and salt. No hydrogenated oils, no high fructose corn syrup, no additives, just dense, shelf-stable nutrition. Unopened jars last approximately 12 to 24 months at room temperature, and unlike almost any other high-calorie food, peanut butter requires zero preparation. Open the jar and use a spoon. Done. At roughly $11 for 2 large jars, over 12,000 calories, the price per calorie is extraordinary. Calorie for calorie, it competes with almost nothing else in a retail store. The psychological factor here is also real. When meals become monotonous during a difficult stretch, peanut butter feels like a treat. It is rich, satisfying, and sweet in a way that rice alone never will be. For households with children especially, this matters more than people acknowledge. Pro tip: natural peanut butter oil separation is not spoilage. It is actually a sign of fewer additives. Store the jar upside down between uses and it stays blended much better. Item 4. Kirkland Extra Virgin Olive Oil. $18, 2L. Olive oil gets a bad reputation in some pantry building circles because it has a shorter shelf life than coconut oil. That criticism is fair, but incomplete. Stored in the original dark bottle in a cool location away from light and heat, extra virgin olive oil lasts 18 to 24 months with its flavor and nutritional profile largely intact. The key is not storing it on a counter above the stove. That degrades it fast. The nutritional argument for including it alongside coconut oil is straightforward. Coconut oil is high in saturated fat. Olive oil is rich in monounsaturated fat and polyphenols, antioxidant compounds that have been genuinely well studied for cardiovascular and anti-inflammatory benefits. In a situation where diet quality drops, having both types of fat in your stockpile gives your body what it needs. Each 2L bottle contains roughly 16,000 calories and costs about $18. That is an exceptional calorie per dollar ratio for a fat with documented health benefits. My rotation method: I keep 6 bottles and use the oldest first in regular cooking. The stockpile refreshes itself naturally without anything expiring. Pro tip: never store olive oil in a clear bottle near a window or beside the stove. Dark, cool, and away from heat is what preserves it. A pantry shelf or interior cupboard is perfect. Item 5. Kirkland Organic Dried Fruit, 10-15 dark bag. Here is where I want to correct something you might have heard in other preparedness content. Dried blueberries are sometimes promoted as a great vitamin C source, but that is not accurate. The drying process destroys the majority of vitamin C. What dried fruit actually provides is fiber, natural sugars for quick energy, and the very real psychological benefit of something sweet and flavorful in an otherwise monotonous diet. Dried cranberries, dates, and mixed fruit at Costco are genuinely useful for exactly these reasons. The caloric density is high. The fiber content supports healthy digestion, which becomes more important when your diet composition changes significantly, and they store exceptionally well: 1 to 2 years in original packaging, 3 to 5 years sealed in airtight containers. For actual vitamin C in a long-term pantry, look to canned tomatoes, which is item 8 on this list, or a good multivitamin. Dried fruit is valuable for energy and morale. Just know what it is and is not doing for you nutritionally. Pro tip: transfer dried fruit to mason jars with oxygen absorbers for significantly extended shelf life. Label with the transfer date and always use the oldest stock first. Item 6. Kirkland Organic Quinoa, 11 4.5 lb bag, the one most people miss. This is the one. The item I mentioned at the top of the video that most people completely overlook, and it is a genuine nutritional gap filler that almost nothing else can replace at this price. Here is the issue with a standard rice and beans stockpile. Rice is essentially pure carbohydrate with negligible protein and almost no fat. Beans are a solid protein source, but are not nutritionally complete on their own. They are low in the amino acid methionine. The classic pairing of rice and beans works because they complement each other's amino acid profiles, but neither alone is a complete protein. Quinoa is. It is one of a small number of plant foods that contains all 9 essential amino acids in sufficient quantities to qualify as a complete protein. Per cooked cup, it delivers 8 grams of complete protein, 5 grams of fiber, and meaningful amounts of iron, magnesium, and B vitamins. Stored in airtight containers with oxygen absorbers, quinoa lasts 8 to 10 years. A 4.5 lb bag costs about $11 and provides over 20 substantial servings. That is an extraordinary nutritional return for the price. It cooks in 15 minutes with a simple 1.2 grain to water ratio and absorbs whatever flavor you cook it in, broth, spices, or tomato sauce. Nutritionally and practically, it outperforms plain rice in almost every way for long-term storage. The only reason it is not more popular is that people are less familiar with it. Pro tip: quinoa has a natural coating called saponin that tastes bitter. Rinse it under cold water before cooking, and the bitterness disappears completely. Item 7. Kirkland iodized sea salt. $8, large container. This one is not glamorous. It is also not optional. Salt serves 2 distinct functions that are easy to underestimate. First, the culinary function. Salt is what makes food taste like food. Plain rice without salt is genuinely difficult to eat in quantity. Boiled lentils without salt taste like nothing. Salt transforms raw caloric fuel into something your brain actually registers as a meal. Second, the physiological function. Iodine, added to table salt since the 1920s, is essential for thyroid function. Your thyroid regulates metabolism, body temperature, and energy levels. Iodine deficiency was historically widespread before iodized salt became standard, causing conditions including goiter and hypothyroidism. In any scenario where your diet narrows significantly, iodized salt becomes your primary iodine source. Salt does not expire. Archaeologists have found salt deposits thousands of years old that remain chemically identical to fresh salt. An $8 container from Costco will outlast almost everything else in your pantry. Beyond food, salt has genuine utility in preservation. Rubbing salt into meat to extend its life is one of humanity's oldest food technologies, as well as in making oral rehydration solution for illness. PRO tip: keep salt dry and sealed. Moisture causes clumping, but does not affect quality or safety. A few grains of uncooked rice in the container absorb ambient moisture effectively. Item 8. Kirkland Organic Tomato Sauce. 8-pack, 10. When fresh vegetables disappear from a stretched budget or a difficult situation, canned tomatoes are one of the best substitutes available in any pantry. Tomatoes are rich in vitamin C, potassium, and lycopene, a well-studied antioxidant associated with reduced oxidative stress. Here is something genuinely counterintuitive. Cooking and processing actually increases the bioavailability of lycopene compared to raw tomatoes. Tomato sauce is more nutritionally potent in this specific respect than a fresh tomato straight from the garden. The Kirkland organic version contains tomatoes, salt, and citric acid. That is the complete ingredient list. Canned at peak ripeness in a sterile environment, the shelf life is 3 to 5 years. At $10 for 8 cans, you are getting 120 ounces of vegetable nutrition. Compare that to freeze-dried vegetables at $15 or more for a fraction of that volume. The value ratio is not even close. Practically, tomato sauce functions as the foundation of dozens of real meals. Rice and tomato sauce, pasta and tomato sauce, canned chicken mixed with tomato sauce and spices served over quinoa. It extends your recipe variety dramatically beyond what dry staples alone can offer. Pro tip: 1 can of tomato sauce combined with canned chicken, garlic powder, salt, and Italian seasoning over pasta or rice gives you a complete meal with protein, carbohydrates, and vegetable nutrition all in one pot. It takes 10 minutes and tastes like something you would actually choose to eat. Item 9. Kirkland Organic Honey at $17 3 lb bottle. Honey occupies a unique category in food storage, and the reason behind it is genuinely fascinating science. Honey's preservation comes from its chemistry. Its water content is so low, typically around 17 to 20%, that microorganisms cannot survive in it. Combined with its natural acidity and trace amounts of hydrogen peroxide produced by enzyme activity, honey creates an environment where bacteria and mold simply cannot grow. Archaeologists have found honey in ancient Egyptian tombs estimated at 3,000 years old that was reportedly still edible. This is not a myth. It is the result of specific, well-understood food chemistry. What this means practically is that honey that crystallizes is not spoiled. It is just undergoing a natural physical change. Warm the jar gently in a bowl of warm water, and it returns to liquid completely. Each 3 lb bottle from Costco contains roughly 8,000 calories and costs about $17. It functions as a sweetener, an energy source, a flavor enhancer for oatmeal and tea, and a genuine morale booster during difficult stretches. There is also legitimate evidence that honey has antimicrobial properties useful for minor wound care. Medical-grade Manuka honey is actually used clinically for this purpose. Standard grocery honey has milder versions of these same properties. It is not a replacement for proper medical treatment, but a clean minor wound covered with honey and a bandage does benefit from the antimicrobial environment honey creates. Pro tip: do not give honey to infants under 12 months. Their digestive systems cannot safely process it due to the risk of infant botulism. This is a non-negotiable safety fact, not a suggestion. Item 10. Kirkland Organic Rolled Oats. $12 10 lb bag. Old school. Foundational. Absolutely non-negotiable. Rolled oats are calorie-dense, high in soluble fiber, rich in B vitamins and minerals including manganese and phosphorus, and keep you full for hours because of their slow digestion rate. They are the opposite of empty calories. A bowl of oatmeal with peanut butter and dried fruit is a genuinely nutritious, satisfying meal that costs less than $1. Shelf life when stored properly in original packaging, 2 to 5 years. Sealed in airtight containers with oxygen absorbers, food storage research suggests rolled oats can remain nutritionally intact for significantly longer, making them among the longest-lasting common foods you can buy. At $12 for a 10 lb bag, approximately 52 servings, oats represent perhaps the best calorie per dollar value of any item on this entire list. Preparation options are broad. Standard hot oatmeal with boiling water takes 5 minutes. No-cook overnight oats require only cold water and time. 0 heat needed. Ground in a blender, oats become oat flour for simple baking. They function as a binder in improvised recipes. Cooked thick, they can even be cooled, sliced, and pan-fried in coconut oil as a completely different texture. And there is something worth saying that preparedness content rarely acknowledges honestly, comfort matters. A warm bowl of oatmeal when the situation is hard, the power is out, or the week has simply been rough provides real psychological grounding. Familiar food is meaningful. Oats have been a morning staple across cultures for centuries for good reason. PRO tip: store oats in sealed mason jars or mylar bags with oxygen absorbers for dramatically extended shelf life. Keep in a cool, dark location. Date the containers clearly and use the oldest first. What I want you to notice about this list is that it is not random. Every single item was chosen to fill a specific nutritional role. Coconut oil and olive oil provide fat, both saturated and monounsaturated, because fat is essential, and most pantry staples contain almost none. Canned chicken and quinoa provide complete protein from 2 completely different sources. Peanut butter delivers fat, protein, and calories in a shelf-stable, zero-prep package. Dried fruit provides fiber, natural sugars, and morale. Salt supplies sodium and iodine. Tomato sauce delivers vegetable nutrition and genuine vitamin C. Honey provides long-lasting sweetener energy with antimicrobial properties. Oats create the foundational caloric base that keeps you full and comforted. Together, these 10 items cover your macronutrients, address the most common micronutrient gaps, and give you genuine variety in what you can prepare. That last point is more important than most people think. Eating the same thing every day, even if it is technically nutritious, causes what survival experts call appetite fatigue. People literally stop eating enough because the monotony becomes unbearable. Variety and flavor are not luxuries. They are part of functional nutrition. Total cost to fully stock all 10 items with meaningful rotation, approximately $125 to $150 at Costco. That represents weeks of real food security for a household, not bland survival rations, but actual meals you would choose to eat. The right time to build a pantry is before you need it, not because of any specific coming crisis, but because grocery prices will not be lower next year than they are today, because supply chains do occasionally disrupt, and because having a well-stocked pantry simply reduces stress. It is a form of financial and logistical resilience that pays off even if nothing dramatic ever happens. Start with whichever 3 items on this list you do not currently have. Add to it each Costco trip. Rotate what you use so nothing expires. That is the whole system. If this was useful, subscribe. I put out practical, no-nonsense content on household economics and smart budgeting every week. Drop a comment below telling me which item surprised you most. I read every single one. Stay practical out there.